Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm Jason, and tonight's going to be a fairly short one. I kind of went a bit long last night, and actually it worked out that the next couple episodes in the series of the tutorial series are kind of short, and then I'm probably going to actually speed through them a little bit because they're mostly informational. So anyway, this one's pretty cool. Again, this is Visual Dawn. Check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance. I meant to scoot this over actually anyway. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this actually because I've had some bandwidth issues, so I'm testing out some new ways of dealing with that. So hopefully that will work out tonight. And this is Bad Decisions YouTube channel. These are the guys' tutorial. I'm following their Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series, and there's 20 episodes, and I think I'm on episode 11, I believe, of theirs. Episode 10 of theirs. It's episode 11 of mine. And so it's going to be actually 10 and 11 of theirs. And let me pull those up. 10 is post-processing volume. That's the PPV on my thumbnail. And then HDRI, which is the like virtual, I guess, like a VR 360 photo. It's like you'll see what I mean. It's easier just to see it than to explain. Hey, Remodel. Yeah, so definitely check these guys out, and I'm probably just going to go right into it. I'm kind of low energy tonight. sort of tired, but I'm going to make it happen. So I think I'm going to play at like 1.25 speed or maybe 1.5 speed. I said I wasn't going to do that, but this isn't mostly informational, and I will slow it down once I get to a part where I'm actually going to be doing stuff. So let me see. I think I'm at 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 speed. We'll start there and see how we do. Maybe I'll slow it down a little bit.
By the end of this video, you're going to learn how to use the post-process volume to turn your boring-looking scenes from this to this. And guess what? We're also going to teach you how to use the path tracing rendering engine to get the most physically accurate scene.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to Chapter 10 of our Unreal Engine Beginner Tutorial Series. Today, we are going to talk about...
That's a bit fast. I'm going to go 1.25. Okay.
Post-process volume.
Wow, you made it until Chapter 10?
It's amazing.
You are good. You are good.
Great
now,
job, great
today's video, this one right here, is going to be one of the easiest. Honestly, it's going to be a breeze, and it's going to be also one of the best because what we're actually going to do is bring in something into our scene called the post-process volume. Now, the post-process volume acts as an extra final filter on top of all of your renders, which makes them look beautiful. This is where you can add glow and bloom, add vignette to your screen, even film grain, things of that sort, control the exposure. Usually, post-process volume is added in the beginning of our projects, like right in the beginning, right in the start, so you can control the look of your scene. It just didn't make sense to do it this time around because we had to go through the paces, go from materials, modeling
Lighting.
and all that. But you want to do this in the very beginning. We always do it in the start. So this is how you can go out and bring it into your scene. You just go to the top left where you can add things, and then either just search. So while your mouse is still on the square cube button, you just search for post-process volume. Now, it's showing it under 3 different categories. All of them are the same, right? It's because it's under visual effects and volumes and also under all classes. Just drag any of them to your scene, and it should look like...
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. Post-process volume. Oh, it's huge. Okay.
like the frame. If you hit F and find it, it will look like, oh, we have G off, which is our overlay. So hit G. Make sure you have your overlays back on. And then it looks like this empty cube. That's what the post-process volume looks like. So basically, all you have to do is control its details right here. It has a lot of options, and we're going to go through some of the most important options. So now that we have the post-process volume in the scene, we're just going to go inside it and start playing around with some of the parameters. So hit post-process volume. And
I'm going to go ahead and get inside there. I don't know if I can do F to get there. Let's find out. Oh, well, I have the floor selected, so that's not going to work. Let's see, where did that go? Right here. Oh, yeah, okay. So you can do F on that. I think I'm inside there now. Let's see what they're going to change.
let's start at blue. Okay, this is my favorite. We're going to turn them on just like our material instances just to enable them and activate them. Let's turn on method and intensity. And already, if we go ahead and increase the slider, let's look at what happens to our light.
Magical.
Do you see that? It's adding a glow around our light. If you look around, you'll see it as well.
What's going to happen if you go outside the cube?
So if I walk outside the cube, let's see what happens. Boom.
Oh.
Gone. See?
What if I...
Okay. Let's bloom and intensity. Or bloom, what was it? Oh, method and intensity. Did they have method selected? They did. Method. Intensity. Okay. Did they do threshold? No. Just increasing that. Okay. Looks pretty grainy.
I don't want it to be only in the cube. I want it to be active all the time.
So there's a way you can do that. And the way you do that is by searching for UND.
I think part of it is also I wonder if I have game mode on or off. Where was that? It was, here. I have it on. Their render settings are different than mine though too, so it's going to look a little bit different. Yeah, I'm not seeing the lens flare that they're seeing. Maybe I'm not inside of it. Oh, that's weird. It doesn't look like I am inside of it. Okay. Where is it? Am I in? No, I'm okay. It's actually tiny. It looked like it was huge for some reason. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
B, that's a short term, but it's called unbound. So UND, infinite extent unbound. By checking this, it says, hey, this post-process volume will work anywhere in the scene. So now that I'm outside.
I'm gonna try that. Unbound. Yeah, I'm not sure I dig that lens flare. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it'd be good for certain scenes, but it's sort of distracting.
I'm still seeing the impacts of the bloom.
But I can have multiple post-process volume for a scene, right?
That's absolutely the case here. So if you were to uncheck this, imagine if you have a game, right? And you want to go ahead and place a post-process volume and then maybe scale it. You can absolutely change its size and say, okay, if I have a player and he's walking into this area, I want to increase the bloom and max it out because I have a fire in this location. And then when he walks out of this bounding box, I want to bring down the bloom. So you can have another, hold Alt, another post-process volume. So I have two now. And this one can have absolutely different settings. And that's fine. When the camera or the player walks into the other post-process volume, and we can check this right now actually. The second post-process volume, let's go ahead and change its intensity to maybe like 8. So right now we're in the first one. And then if you go to the next one, you see the bloom, see the difference? This one is 4, this one is 8.
Makes sense.
So that's the whole reason why you have multiple post-process volumes. But usually for cinematics where you're changing the levels based on every scene, usually we only have one. We've only created one per scene so far. But you know what? It's good to know that you can have more than.
I was thinking about it, and I can't imagine why you'd want to do that in a cinematic scene, but maybe if you're going from like one weather pattern to another weather pattern or something like that.
So in our first post-process volume, let's first go ahead and click UNB, search for UNB, and turn it on so that it affects our entire scene, so we don't have to be inside the post-process volume. Then we can go ahead and actually hide this one. We can just drag it anywhere in our scene so we don't see it anymore. Now, starting with we don't need mobile depth field. Our bloom, there is the standard function, and there is convolution. So convolution is more expensive, but it also works specifically with the light. So you don't see bloom applied to.
I'm not actually going to play with these settings because I'm not going to remember them anyway. So I think it would just take up time for no reason. It's something I'll play with at some point. And if you want to watch this video, check it out and watch it in its entirety, play with the settings and stuff. I just don't think there's much value in playing with the settings. So I'm just going to let them kind of talk for a little bit here.
To the entire scene, it only works on top of the lights. If you look closely, if I increase convolution, you see it only affects our lights, which is why it's more realistic, but also more expensive. But you might want to go for standard. Let's just keep standard for now. It's fine. So let's go. I don't know why all of them are open. I don't like the fact that all drop downs are open. I want to now go directly to lens flare. You see how we have lens flare? I don't like it. And that comes with our post-process volume. So if I open it up, by default, it's on 1. So all I have to do is either increase the intensity of my lens flare or decrease it to 0. I don't want to have any, so
I will do that because I don't like it either. Okay. Let's see. Lens flare was where? There we go. I mean, I'm sure lens flare is cool sometimes, but not. I actually like the way the scene looks without that. So
I'm going to disable it by decreasing it to 0. Now, the next thing, and also super important setting, is exposure. So you can have auto exposure, which by default is on in Unreal Engine. And what that does is, for example, if you're in an absolutely dark environment and suddenly go to a light environment, your eyes, your pupils change size to adjust to the lighting. Unreal Engine does the same thing, but sometimes you want to make sure it stays the same. So when you're going to different parts of your scene, your light is not changing. So to do that, you have two choices. One, you can change this auto exposure to manual. And by default, it's on 1, so you can increase it. And then now, everything in your scene will be sticking to this specific exposure. Or another way to do it is, instead of going to manual, we like to do it this way, changing your min and max EV to just 0. So this is now our default, the same exposure that we had, and it's not going to change anymore. This is your exposure. Chromatic aberration, if you played with After Effects and Premiere Pro and DaVinci, you will know this effect. It's basically changing the RGB and taking the RGB planes and just moving them. A lot of people like to use this for an artistic effect. I like to keep it either at a very minimal value, like 0.2, to help sell more of the photorealism, because some cameras actually have the chromatic aberration, which is why it exists as an effect. But you can also add it in post if you don't want to use it here, so you can just turn it off.
How we can add Vignette?
So Vignette is going to be under...
yeah, all this stuff too, I would prefer to adjust in my video editing software. So Adobe Premiere for me, but I think they use DaVinci Resolve. And DaVinci's really good at color correction too, so I don't know why you'd ever want to do it in here, but I can understand, like, if you're making a game, or maybe you just don't want to do so much in the video editing software.
Your image effects right here. So if you turn it on, by default it's on 0.4. By just increasing the value, it just makes your scene more cinematic, because it puts all the focus in the middle of the scene, and the vignette around, the darker circles around your image is going to make it more cinematic. So maybe we can keep this at a value of 0.45. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that looks good.
I like that.
Yeah.
One more thing I like to say is dirt mask. So dirt mask is basically the dirt you're going to have on your lens to sell the realism. And that one is a texture that you have to bring in. We don't have it right now, so we're not going to add anything, but you can go ahead and bring in a dirt mask texture and add it over there. The camera settings, we're not going to touch because we're going to change it within the camera. We're going to skip everything else like depth of field. Again, everything can be done within the camera itself. Next up is color grading, right? Again,
You do that in DaVinci, right?
Exactly. I like to do it in post in DaVinci Resolve. That's where I'm used to all the settings, but you're more than welcome to change the settings here. You have access to global, shadow, global for everything, or separately, the shadows, the midtones, the highlights, and also maybe we just change one of the settings here. How about we just play with the temperature? Since we know the scene is going to be dark and cold because it's the hangar for the bad guys, the Sith Lords. So we're going to reduce this number, see what happens.
Oh.
You see?
Have you come to destroy me,
Me, Obi-Wan. You know, yesterday we saw the Japanese
version
dub
it.
of
It's
Darth
so
Vader.
good.
Dude,
I want to watch Star Wars in Japanese now.
the only thing that works in a dub, I would say, that doesn't make it cringy is if you change English to Japanese. But if you change Japanese to English, sometimes it becomes really cringy, like if you watch animes in dub. But yeah, so we just made it slightly colder, just a little bit. We don't have to. We can always change this. But now you see it's more of a filter, right? That's what post-process volume does. So these are your color gradings. Now the next thing we want to talk about, again, film does the same thing. You can change all of these settings. The next one we're going to talk about, which is really important, is your rendering settings, right? And this comes in really handy because technically you can directly access these settings either through your settings, right here, the project settings, which we're going to touch on in a moment, or through your console commands, which we're going to touch on as well later in this tutorial series. But they have a shortcut for you in the post-process volume, so you have access to some of the render settings. So let's see what they are. First of all, we have to look at, I'm going to close all these drop-downs because they're really annoying, because by default, they should be like this. Now, the next thing we're going to cover is the rendering settings that we can access within the post-process volume. Now, these are not all of your rendering settings, but some shortcuts that will help you quickly change some of those qualities in your renders. Now, by default, Unreal Engine 5 is using...
I may change a couple of these just to see how they look, or if my computer can even handle them.
Lumen. So if you take a closer look here, for our GI, Global Illumination and Reflections, we're using Lumen. Farah, what is Lumen?
Can I cheat?
Yes, please.
Lumen is Unreal Engine's fully dynamic global illumination and reflection system.
Absolutely. So the reason why Lumen works really well with Unreal Engine 5, is because of how realistic it looks, at the same time because of how real time it is, which means we can work and move around scenes really quickly and have multiple different materials, multiple different assets, and have almost no noise.
What is the other option that we have besides Lumen?
Beside Lumen, we have another option, which is path tracing, right? And if you come from Blender or other 3D softwares, the Cycles render, for instance, is a path tracing render. That's a method of rendering. And if you have no knowledge of 3D rendering, then you should know this. So for us to be able to see and view these objects, the computer, the hardware, has to work with the software to create this look for you. How does it know what the metals should look like? How does it know how the metals should reflect light so that it looks like real metal? Well, there's different rendering engines, and they work differently. But path tracing renders are actually the most physically accurate because they're actually bouncing out hundreds of different rays of light and then see how they will bounce off different materials and then come back to the camera, which is your eyes, and then make it as realistic as possible. Now, inside Unreal Engine, we actually have access to a path tracing render, which is the most realistic, and we'll show you exactly how to access it. So right now, we're in Lumen, which is why we can move around the scene really quickly. There's no noise, almost no noise, and things are super smooth. But if you go to our lit view at the top left here, and then actually change this to path tracing. Now, if you don't have a strong computer, be careful with this. Make sure you save before you do this, because you might crash, again, depending on your computer. If you change it to path tracing, pay close attention to what happens to our materials. Do you see?
I'll give that a try. I'm definitely going to save first. Okay. Lit. Ooh. Okay, has to load that, I think. It could be frozen. It doesn't seem to be making any progress there. I'll come back to it.
See the difference? This looks a lot more realistic. Look at the roof, look at the ceiling, sorry, and you can actually see, if you pay close attention, the edges, the normal maps that we created. If you go back to Lumen, look at how light is being reflected. First of all, we lose detail in the top area, like right here, because it's trying to cancel out the noise and make this work in real time. But if you go back to the path tracing renderer and try to move around the scene, do you see the noise?
Yep.
If you come from Blender or other 3D software, this is what you're used to, right? This is why Lumen is so freaking good, because it looks almost as close as possible that it can to a path tracing render. It's not there yet, but it's close. But it can work in real time with 80 FPS right now with all these things in our scene. So if you go to our post-process volume, we have Lumen as our rendering method. Now we can go ahead and change some of its settings. Like for instance, for the global illumination, which is how it's illuminating our scene, we can go ahead and enable all these settings. And sometimes they're going to make a huge difference depending on what materials you have, what items you have. Let's say you have a forest. But sometimes they might not make that big of a difference. So if you go ahead and change, for example, our scene detail from 1 to 0, do you see what happens to our light here? And then change it to back to 1. Do you see?
The reflections.
Exactly.
Looks like it never made it back. Let's see. Maybe I could just turn this back off. Oh, there we go. Okay.
And also here, scene lighting doesn't make that much of a difference.
I know this information is kind of dry, but I thought about skipping over these two. This one and the HDRI is pretty cool. The next episode, and this one's going to be, this is only like 20 minutes and I've got it on 1.25 speed, so it'll be done in about 5 minutes. But the HDRI one is pretty cool. There is still a lot of information, but I'll actually be doing things. So,
right. Final gather quality, not much of a difference right now. But the more items you add, you can keep playing with these values ready to go, and then see what difference it makes to your scene. For us, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but we're not going to touch it. Default is great. The next thing is reflections. Now, I'm going to enable these, and let's just talk about quality. So right now it's at 1, reflection quality. Look at the top here. Look at what happens, Farhad, if I change this back to 0.25.
Noisy.
Do you see the noise?
Yeah.
Because the reflection quality is low, and then bring it back to 1. See the difference? We can take this number to something like 40, right? And there's a difference, right? 1 to 40, there's a slight difference. It's slightly brighter at the top, but it's not so noticeable. And remember, when you increase these sliders, your FPS
GPU
is going to take a hit. Now, the biggest difference is actually outside of the post-process volume. And since we're talking about rendering, Farhad, should we go and talk about the settings?
Let's
for
go to
renders?
project setting and then let's look at them.
I think that's a great idea. Because the problem right now is, if you look at the reflections here on this cube,
You don't even see the lights.
you do not... Oh, yes, I just noticed that. Yeah,
this stuff I actually want to mess with a little bit, so hopefully it won't crash my computer.
where are these lights? Why are they not reflecting from this cube? And also, if I use right-click and C to zoom in, look at the weirdness in the shapes. They're just so unclear, and I don't like it. So let's go to our rendering settings outside of the post-process volume. So we go to setting, we go to project settings, and then we're going to go all the way down to
rendering
right here. And you're going to be doing this almost every project, by the way. So make sure you get used to doing this. You're going to go down here. And depending on your computer, if you have an RTX-enabled graphics card like we do, a 4090, you can go ahead and use something called software and hardware ray tracing and ray traced shadows to increase the quality and the realism of your scene. So in order to change and enable those effects, one, under Lumen, we can enable hardware.
I'm going to get in there. Should pay closer attention to where they were going because, let's see. Oh, it was project settings and it was up here. Okay. And then render. So I sort of remember. Rendering. I think that's where they went. Make sure. Rendering. They're about a third of the way down, so. Lumen, there we go.
Ray tracing when available. So pay close attention to the difference this is going to make. Okay, look at the reflections here and look at what happens. Hardware ray tracing enabled.
Boom.
Boom.
Lights are here.
Congratulations. So right now it's actually using our graphics cards ray tracing capability.
Use hardware ray tracing. Okay. I kind of want to see what's going on in this cube over here. I can minimize this. I actually already see the lights. Let's see what happens. I'm not seeing some of the lights. Oh, I guess I checked the box already, that's why. Okay. Let's see what if I uncheck it though, what happens. Ah, yeah, looks like shit. Oh, it really looks bad. Holy crap. Oh, the lights are gone again. They do something else that I think helps bring the lights back. Oh, there we go. If I just move around, that's better. Okay, let's see what else.
Capabilities to be able to bounce off. And we can even see our aerial lights reflecting off of this cube, which is great, right? So the quality is better. It's not perfect yet. Now, the next thing we're going to change is our ray lighting mode from surface cache to hit lighting for reflection. I don't even know if this is going to make a huge difference for our scene, but just looking at what the description is talking about, the hit lighting for reflection has better quality. So that's what we're going to do. And even if you don't do it, it did actually make a difference, right? But guess what, Farad? We can actually change this one. This one already has a shortcut in our post-process volume. Let's quickly go back here. Check this out. Project default or no? Let's go to surface cache. See? We don't see half of our lights. Hit lighting for reflection.
Oof.
Boom. Now the reflections are perfect.
Yes.
It's freaking perfect. Okay? So again, some of these settings are in our post-process volume. Some of them are not.
Wait, listen. Did you know that you can create highly photo...
So the last thing we're going to do is turn...
So yeah, I don't know actually when you want to use the post-processing volume as opposed to these settings. I guess you're trying to control a certain area or scene as opposed to the entire project. So I guess it just gives you more control that way. I'll go ahead and leave mine that way as long as, let me look at my FPS and see where I'm at with that. Not bad, 42. And I actually still have game mode on too, so I could turn that off if I have to. Probably should actually. It didn't make a difference, so might as well leave it on. And I lost my FPS. Where'd it go? Oh, did it freeze? I wonder if my computer froze. Oh, no, there we go. Okay.
Turn on ray trace shadows. Now, currently in our scene, because of our lighting setup, we're not going to see a big difference, but this is actually going to make your shadows a lot more realistic. Let us maybe see if it makes a difference here. Hold on. Yes, perfect. See that? So right now, this cube is creating this shadow, which is not realistic, but you don't notice it because you don't know better. But check this out. Ray trace shadows, boom. That is what the shadows are supposed to look.
Hardware ray tracing. I closed my settings. Let's see. Project settings. And it was under rendering. Thought they were done on there for some reason. Okay, let's see. It's under Lumen. Hardware ray tracing. Oh, it's already enabled. Okay.
Like. So change.
Oh, ray trace shadows. That's what they added. I don't know if we're going to be able to tell the difference anywhere over here. Maybe. Let's find out. Oh, I think I froze. Yep. Yep, does not like that. Okay. All right. Am I completely gone? No, it's just the settings window that froze. Okay, let's see if it stuck or not. I don't think it did, but that's kind of funny that the settings window is the only thing that froze. It was under here. I'm not going to bother turning that on. Not if it's going to freeze even the settings window.
Settings, and make sure that your computer can handle it though before you do that. But if you can, change your settings and your scene is going to look a lot better.
I still have a question about post-process volume.
What is that?
Film grain. Can we add that?
Absolutely. We're going to do that. So let's go ahead and close the project settings. Let's go ahead and save. Make sure we have everything saved. And then we're going to close global illumination. And Farhad, right before getting to film grain, do you want to just test the quality and max reflection bounces
Let's
here?
go.
I just want to see if it's going to make any difference. So 0, no, 1. So in reflections, nothing. And then max reflection bounces. Oh,
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
So this was at 1, but because the lights will be reflecting multiple times, if we change it to 2, we're actually seeing these reflections on the wall inside this cube as well. If we change it to 3,
You'll see
yes,
more.
we'll see even more.
Yes.
But look at our FPS.
Oh, dropping.
Look at our
Oh.
FPS from 70 to 60. So be very careful.
Oh, that's
I want
inside
to keep it
the
at 3. I want to keep it high. Or
Post-processing
2.
volume.
I think 2 is
Two
good
is
for
good.
us, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
going to find the middle ground. And now we're going to go to Farhad's request of
Wait.
Film grain.
film grain.
I missed where they were poking around. Where was that? Reflections. Okay. Let's see. Where is that? Lens flare. I thought they were in here. Maybe they weren't. They have to be. Maybe it's a subcategory. No, they had a reflection setting. Is it alphabetical? Let's search for it. Okay. Yeah. I didn't have any of this enabled. Okay. Maybe back up a little bit.
If we change it to 2,
Okay, they have all this stuff enabled. Yeah, I should have been in front of the cube to check out the difference. Oh, hit the wrong button. Oh yeah, I can see what they're talking about.
we're actually seeing these reflections on the wall inside this cube as well. If we change it to 3,
You'll see
yes,
more.
we'll see even more.
Yes.
But look at our FPS.
Oh, dropping.
Look at our
Oh.
FPS from 70 to 60. So be very careful.
Down to
I want to
34.
keep it at 3. I want to keep it high. Or 2. I think 2 is good for us, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
going to find the middle ground. And now we're going to go to Farhad's request of
Film grain.
film grain, which is right here. So film grain is just going to emulate some film grain that you usually add in post. And we're going to enable it right here and increase it all the way to 1 so you see the difference. Look at the cube. Do you see
I
the
can
film
see.
grain?
Yep, yep.
And then decrease it.
You can add it in DaVinci Resolve too. So
Absolutely. I always like to add just a little bit here, like 0.3, because the more imperfection you add here, a small amount, and then later when you add a
I kind of don't agree with that. Like, I think it's better. I mean, it just depends on, I guess, what you're doing this for. But for me, I'd rather have something absolutely perfect looking, as long as it looks imperfect enough. Like, I don't know, like the walls have imperfections, but adding film grain is something you can always do later. So I think, I'm not sure if I would add it in here.
little bit more in post, it's going to make everything look less CG. And that is always our goal because we want to make it as photorealistic as possible.
I get why they say that, so I'm not discounting that. I'm sure it's true in a lot of situations, but coming from AI, it's like you want things to look as perfect as possible, then you can make it look less perfect later.
Possible. So I would say 0.3 is perfect.
Okay. So Faraz, you showed us the lumen settings, how we can change the path tracing settings.
Okay, that's actually a good question because the settings are here as well. Under path tracing, let's go ahead. This is for the path tracer nerds. Let's go change lit to path tracing right now. And we can go ahead and enable all of these options, okay? And then change the settings
Easy for them to say. I'm not going to do that.
here. So
that will freeze up my computer.
you can go ahead and change the samples. Right now, look at this loading bar. It's
Takes
loading
ages.
in 2,048 samples. So we have to decrease that number so that it doesn't take ages. Something like maybe 150, and you see how much faster that loading is. And then we can change the max bounces to a lower number like 3 is fine. Okay, it's going to be enough. And then max path exposure to 13. This is usually my sweet spot. And then now we can go around the scene and then look at all these beautiful reflections. This is the most realistic way you can look at your scene if you're nerding out with path tracing. But for the continuation of this series, we're going to go back to Lumen. Okay, perfect. And Farad, I think we are done with our post-process volume.
Guys, we are 10 chapters in. Next chapter, we are going to talk about HDRI and how you can add.
By the end of this,
That was a quick one. So we're on to HDRI. And I've messed with HDRI. I was actually, one little thing I was going to mention, if I remember where it is, I may not. I don't think I saved the shortcut. But there is a site, I think it's called, oh shoot, they're going to say the name of it in a second here, I think.
video, you'll be able to create an outside world like this, and then also add a glass material
Hold that thought. I'll come back to it once they say it, because I'll remember that.
like this, so that your spaceship looks sexy and actually looks like it belongs to space.
What is up, beautiful people? We are here at chapter 11, and we are going to talk about HDRI. So we are going to add Earth, add our background, we are going to add that window. Are you ready?
I am ready, but Farad first, what is an HDRI?
High dynamic range image.
And what is it?
I just remembered Skybox. So I think it's Skybox. I think that's it. Skybox.blockade Labs. Yeah, check this site out. I'll put it in the description, the link in the description, but it's a place you can go, and I generated something similar to this, to create skyboxes, which is, they're HDRIs, and you'll see what I'm talking about once, but it's a way to use AI to create skyboxes, and I was using them wrong, so I learned, luckily watching this one was pretty helpful, so I'm going to definitely be using this site in the future. It's pretty cool. And they mention a different site, but this is one if you want to create AI skyboxes.
Do exactly?
It acts, in this case, as our background, the space, the stars.
Absolutely. And guess what? We can also use HDRIs to light our scene. So let's say you're creating a world in a forest, right? And you have a bunch of trees, you have your character. And if you go ahead and take an HDRI online, like a really high resolution HDRI, like 8K or 16K, that was captured in a real forest with a cloudy sky, you can then bring in an HDRI, use it as the background. So when your camera is looking at the trees at the very back, you'll see even more trees. And also use the HDRI to light your scene so that your scene is getting all the light from the clouds. And it's just one of the coolest tricks that we can use in 3D. So today, we're going to do exactly that.
How do we import an HDRI?
So first of all, we have to go ahead and find one, right? We are going to be using a website called Production Create. They have a lot of cool assets.
Is it free?
Well, luckily, the one we're going to be using is free. So if you go to this link, we're going to leave it in the description box below. There are basically it says download free space and planet HDRI images. So they've created these lists of images that you can use as your HDRI. Now, we are going to be using one we've already downloaded from this same website, and it's called Orbital 10 Sunset. This is the one that we're going to use, which is this last one right here. And if you go ahead and open it up, the one that you're going to be downloading is the HDR. So we're going to download the 4K HDR version, which is free. All you have to do is log in. Now, once you have it down.
Okay, let me just get there. I have not downloaded this yet. Let's see. And I've not signed up either, so... Oh. Wait. Can I not do a free account? It's possible it's not free at all anymore. That would suck. Maybe I don't have to do that. I thought they said that I have to sign up, but try this. Nope. I think this might not be free anymore. Let's find out. Let me go back here. I thought they said it was free.
Downloading is the HDR. So we're going to download the 4K HDR. Downloading is the HDR. So thing one, we've already downloaded from the same website. There are thing is free. So if you go to a website called Production Create, they have a lot of cool assets.
Is it free?
Well, luckily, the one we're going to be using is free. So if you go to this link, we're going to leave it in the description box below. There are basically it says download free space and planet HDRI images. So they've created.
Okay, let me just go to their link and see. Oops, I need to shrink this a little bit. Oh, not that much. This one. There we go. And then HDRI. Okay. They must have a direct link that allows you to download it. Okay, I think it's the HDR one, but let's make sure.
These lists of images that you can use as your HDRI. Now, we are going to be using one we've already downloaded from this same website, and it's called Orbital 10 Sunset. This is the one that we're going to use, which is this last one right here. And if you go ahead and open it up, the one that you're going to be downloading is the HDR. So we're going to download the 4K HDR version, which is free. All you have to do is log in. Now, once you have it down.
Okay, I may still need to sign up, though. Let's find out. Yeah, not free anymore. Well, that kind of sucks. Well, maybe this will let me do it. Oh, there's my email address. That's on my YouTube channel anyway, so I don't care. Oh, shit. Yeah, I do not want to pay for anything. Okay, well, I may be going to this Skybox site after all and making my own. That kind of sucks. Maybe they've got one available here already. Am I signed in already? I am. Explore. I decided to not try try doing these things ahead of time on this episode, and it's biting me now. Okay, let's see. Let's just go here. Let's see about creating my own. Digital painting, fantasy. Do realistic. Well, I wanted to show you guys this thing anyway. Let's try that. The orbit of a magenta, blue, and red planet. Might be cooler than what they've got anyway. Let's see. Sure. Okay. Hopefully this will give me something usable. Whatever it is, I'll probably use it. It's almost done running, I think. Yeah, I mean, that'll work. It's kind of weird looking, but that's okay. HDR. It's a weird shaped planet, but maybe it'll look normal once I get into the scene. Let's see. Okay, archive. Stick it in this folder here. Oh, good. I've already got a folder for stuff. All right. Let's get back to it here. Okay.
Load it. All you have to do is go ahead to your content browser, and then we're going to create a new folder called HDRI, and then we're going to drag and drop the HDR image into our content drawer. So once you've added your HDR image, it is automatically going to load here as a texture cube. That's the name for it. So if you go and double click it and open it up, let's see what it looks like. So it's like a flat image, but what we're going to do is actually wrap this around a sphere around our scene. But there's one thing I'd like you to do, and this one is the level of detail. So by default, it's called the MIP Gen.
Okay, let me just get this started here. New folder. HDRI. And let me go to it here. Let's see. How big is this thing? It's like 91 megabytes. It's not that big, but it's still importing. Okay, we'll keep watching.
Settings, and it's on by default from texture group. Now, what we found is that if you change this to no MIP maps, it basically makes sure that the image is not compressed. So the reason why we want to do that is because we want the most high resolution image and we don't want it to be compressed. So change that setting to no MIP maps, and it will make sure that they're not being compressed at all. And then go ahead and save. So now the next thing we have to do is go ahead and bring in an HDRI around our world, right?
Okay. No MIP maps. Actually, it looked pretty cool. I think it was just distorted because it's a 360 picture, so this might actually look really amazing. It won't look like their scene, but it'll be cool, I think. I'm guessing it's still loading. I don't know, or it's frozen. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, this might actually be pretty damn amazing. We'll save that. Sweet. Okay.
Wow, this looks really cool from the outside, right? It looks super cool. Okay, so I'm going to change this to unlit just so we can see the world, okay? And this is our world. It's completely dark, pitch black. In order to bring in an HDRI, we're going to go to this cube right here and actually just search for HDRI. It should be there by default. Both of these are the same thing, and both of them work. So just go ahead and drag and drop, okay? And now you should be able to see this little dome with the default HDRI. So just being in the middle of this, do you realize what HDRIs are used for now?
Yes, the background.
So imagine if you had a bunch of trees, a house here, you could just set up your camera and you can see the sky, even trees all the way at the back. And guess what? You actually have the lighting information too that you can use from this. That is the point of HDRIs. Now, in any case, when you look for HDRIs, if you don't find them here, depending on your engine version, all you have to do is go to plugins and search for HDRI. Make sure this one is checked. Okay, ours is already checked by default. So there's a couple of things we have to do. First of all, let's reset this location to our world origin where our spaceship is. So it's covering that. And then let's go ahead and scale.
Okay. They did a search for HDRI, I think, in here. Yeah. And I'm already, okay, yeah. I think I just need to reset the origin on this. General, I think. Oh, yeah. Searching for reflection. There we go.
Scale it up. So in the details panel, we can see the size, right? We can see the cube map. So this is the image that we have to replace. And then we can see the intensity, so how intense the light is, and also the size. Let's increase this size to maybe something like 500. Okay,
That's good.
for now. So there is one problem, which is if we were to drag this up and down, there's a floor. In space, we don't have a floor. It makes sense for this, but not for us,
We
correct?
have to change the mesh.
We need to change the mesh. We don't want to be using a floor. So if you brought in the starter content, again, we're going to steal something from the starter content. You actually have access to not a dome, but a full sphere that you can use for this case. So if we go to advanced right here, under advanced, we have the current mesh that is being used. Let's go and double click it. It's a dome, right? It's exactly what we're looking at right now. We want to change this to
a
something.
skybox.
Absolutely. So we just look for skybox here, and we should have
Skybox,
this if we've enabled
that
the
was the
starter
trick
content. And
last
look at what
time
happens immediately. Boom. Look at it.
When I was messing with this before and I had downloaded an HDRI from that Skybox site, I didn't change that setting, and so it just looked all stretched out like it does for me right now, which looks terrible. So this was the key that was not in the tutorial that I had was following. I'm not sure actually where they changed that though. Was it in here? No. I got to see where they did that. Let's see.
Look for Skybox.
Oh, okay. It was actually...
We've enabled the starter content. And look at what happens immediately. Boom. Look at it. We've got a whole sphere.
Wait. What did I click on?
Link. So we just look for...
Oh, okay, under the mesh. Okay, I see. Where are they seeing that? Advanced? Oh, there it is. Skybox. Yeah, I never would have figured that out on my own, so I'm glad they showed me that. Okay. Let's see. Go back to here.
Skybox here. And we should have this if we've enabled the starter content. And look at what happens immediately. Boom. Look at it. We've got a whole sphere surrounding our spaceship, right? Which is really cool. If this spaceship...
Imagine the spaceship is in the jungle. Look at that.
That would be so freaking weird, man. I don't want that.
You can make it lit now to see how it looks with all the lighting.
Let's change this to lit and see what happens. So lit, boom.
Boom.
So right now we got this guy, and if we go to our HDRI backdrop, increase the intensity, all right, that's how intense it is, and you can even see it. Okay, that's way too intense. My computer's lagging. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's way too intense, but do you see the lighting? It's actually bouncing off within our spaceship. Let's change this back to 1, and now it's time to go ahead and replace this with our own HDRI.
Let's use our favorite icons.
Right here. So it's already selected. Let's just switch it with this icon. Boom. So
Okay, I'm going to do that real quick. Okay. Let's see. Let's go into one of these cubes or something like that, or I want to go inside the ship. Okay, back to lit. And then, so I want to see this change. Okay, and then we're changing this. Oh, I gotta select it first. It's selected. Okay, cool. So then select the skybox and then hit this button. Cool. I mean, this isn't bad the way it is. It's really bright though. I might need to lower the brightness. Ooh. Let's see if they lower theirs too.
Can't see anything.
can't see anything now, but guess what? Our Earth is right there.
We need to rotate it.
We need to rotate it.
How do we do it?
Well, as soon as we've got HDRI selected, we're going to hit E and rotate it on this axis and bring it to the front side. But the problem is, Farhad, that right now, this is all the way down there. And we need to bring it up. Now, the one thing you have to understand is you cannot rotate it on this axis. For some reason, you can't. I wish we could, but we can't do it.
For a little bit
We
and
can
see
only
if I
rotate
can
it on the
figure out how to
Z-axis.
make this.
So in order to
get this
bring
in the
this
right
up,
place.
we'll have to play with the projection center
0.15
values, how
maybe?
the texture cube is being projected on top of the
I mean, that's
skybox.
pretty cool the way
so
it is.
we had to play with a
Maybe I'll
lot
just
of
leave it
values
that
to
way.
get ours
Oh, you
right.
can't really
And
see it
Farhad,
from back
can you
here,
tell
though.
me what those values are?
We need to change the projection center.
I need to actually
X,
go
Y, and Z,
left
by the way.
with
So
it.
for X and Z to change it to 90,000.
90,000. Boom. So this is for the X, and for the Z, 90,000.
1,000.
Okay. So we still can't see it again.
No, because our scale, I think, should be big.
Okay, they actually rotated it though. Let me see if I can just do that. Where is my... Oh, there's the controller. I think. Right? Isn't that what that is? Yeah, it's got to be. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's all I need to do. You can't rotate it that way. So you can only rotate it one way, I guess. But this is going to be fine, I think. Let me just move over a little bit just to see what that'll look like from the center of the ship. Oops. Oh, I got my speed on really fast. Okay. Gotta take it easy on that. Oh, that looks pretty cool, actually. Might rotate it a little bit off, just so it's just in the window a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks cool. I'm sticking with that. I might want to lower the intensity down, I'm not sure.
Where is it?
Okay, it's gone. So no, it's fine. This is exactly what will happen to you. So let's go and reset these values. So right now it's here. let's go and play with the numbers slowly. So I want to change the size because 500 is too small, right?
3,500.
3,500 because I want the Earth to be far away. So 3,500. Okay, now it's really far away. And our world is much bigger, which is a lot more realistic.
I think now you can put 90,000.
So let's start with a Z. Let's go to 90,000. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
You see how it's lifted? Let's go inside. Perfect. Maybe it's too much. I want to change this to maybe 50,000.
Too low, I think.
Maybe 75,000.
Try
Perfect.
X to make
This
it a
is
bit
perfect.
tilted.
So if we add value to X, it's going to tilt it,
Tilt it,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's try. What should we try?
Same 80,000 maybe.
80,000.
Yes.
Baby, look at that.
Yes.
Okay,
This is
shall
what-
we rotate it just slightly like that?
Okay. Well, the only thing I don't like is that you don't see dark space out there, but I mean, you can't have everything. I don't have the same image as them. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's much cooler. Okay. Yeah. Just see what happens if I do that. Oh, that did nothing. Okay. I'm leaving well enough alone here. I don't think this... Oh, that actually changes it a bit. That's 3,000. So what if I do negative 3,000? Negative 1,500. I don't know. I think I liked it at 120 or whatever it was. Yeah, you can see that star. Okay, calling that good.
Wow.
This is looking good.
And it looks like it's really far away as well because we made the size bigger, right?
Yes.
And just like that, we have actually created our HDRI.
Don't forget to add the window at the back. Now our spaceship is open.
Our spaceship is open. We don't want that, do we?
Nope.
We want to add a window. So how do we do that?
Add the box, change the material.
As simple as that. As
Yeah.
simple as that. So we're going to go ahead. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to add a box. I'll just steal this guy. I'll just steal this guy, right? I'm going to hold Alt, duplicate it, bring it at the back here. I'm going to make it thinner because we don't want our glass to be that thick. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift this guy up, bring it to the middle. And then now I'm just going to scale it on this axis, which is the Y, and then on the Z to cover the glass. And we're going to...
Okay, I'm going to do that real quick. By the way, I had to fix the... last night I had some trouble with when I created this window. For some reason, when I built my ship, it created this glitch in the mesh. And it must have been early stages when I was first building it, because this glitch was here the whole time. And when I duplicated this part of the ship, it duplicated the glitch or whatever it was. And when I stretched this out, it created this horrible looking thing, which I'm not going to show it to you because I'd have to, I mean, I probably could hide this temporarily and you could see what I'm talking about, but you can kind of see how it's screwed up on the top here. If I hide that real quick. See, can I do that? Oh, there we go. I mean, this is repaired. I did some stuff with the mesh through, if you go into modeling, you can kind of push this mesh around, and I don't know how to, I don't know what I'm doing. So I did the best I could. And then what I couldn't fix, I covered up and I painted it with this thing. And from a distance, you can't really tell. And I probably should have never shown it to you. But on the other hand, you know, this is the kind of thing you're probably going to run into yourself if you start doing this. So kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And maybe I'll come back and fix this once I understand how to do that. I just don't, I don't have the skill set yet to do that. Since I'm doing a little bit more detailed work, I'm going to slow my roll. I'm at like 80 speed. Let's do 10. I think that's going to be better. Yeah. Yeah. That was too fast. Okay. Let's see. We're going to duplicate this guy. And then, let's see, scoot out a little bit. Stretching it out. Nope, wrong way. Don't think it needs to be very thick. Let's see. Might as well scoot it up. I know there's an easier way to... Oh, I'm expanding it the wrong way. I think that's going in all directions. Okay, that's why it was going so slow. Okay, let's see. Okay. Not nearly big enough. And I don't think it matters what it looks like as long as it covers up the hole. Not quite. There we go. I think that makes contact. Okay. I think that's good. Nope. Yeah. All right. Let's see how they turn it into glass or
I'm gonna
something.
go in. Right now it's all blocked, but guess what? We're also gonna use our
Starter content again.
and use a glass material from there that is available. So let's go to starter content, okay? We can actually even search it right here. So let's just do it here. In our materials, this is gonna search the entire engine project, this project. And then we're gonna search for glass. So with our starter content, we have a bunch of different glass material, and we're gonna test a bunch of them, see which one works the best. Let's just try with MS glass material instance. See what happens.
Nice.
Boom. And it already
I like-
worked.
MS glass material instance. So I've got it selected already. Cool. Didn't still doing the reflection or something? I don't see any reflections in it. Oh, there we go. Huh. It's probably because they have all that ray tracing stuff enabled and I don't. That's okay. I can see some reflections. It's like the lights the temporary lights are in there. That still looks cool. I dig it. This is definitely different looking than their ship.
Yes.
It already works. You're seeing the reflection of everything within that glass. Oh my goodness, dude, this looks so freaking
I
sick.
love it. You don't need to change it.
Okay. I honestly, there's nothing to change here. This is so freaking cool. I just want to see one last thing. If you go to our post-process volume, play with the reflections. Do we see any difference or not? Do you think we're going to see any differences?
Let's see. Change the max reflection.
So,
Yes.
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 You see?
Yes.
It even impacts the glass right here. So keep it
But
to
also
3.
impacting your FPS.
Also impacting my
Yeah.
FPS. So this is what we're going to keep. And just like that, you guys have learned how to create.
Well, I just want to see what it looks like. I don't think I'm going to leave it that way, but let's see. Go to back to the post-processing volume. And I'm going to hide this cube so we can see this better. Okay, post-processing volume. And then it was under... Oh boy, this is all like expanded out. Whoops. Bloom, exposure. Ooh, okay, this is going to take a minute. This is all expanded. Oh, here we go. No, that's lens flare. Where is lumen? I think it was under lumen. Lumen. Oh yeah, all this stuff's disabled anyway, so. Oh, method, lumen. Oh, there we go. I think that's it. And then they have this at like 2. Is that what they had their settings at? Method, lumen, quality 1. Hit lighting for reflections. I am in a different section or something. Global illumination. Is that where they are? Huh. I think the settings have changed since. Oh no, here we go. I was looking at the wrong area. That's global reflections. Okay. Hit lighting. And then they had this. Max at 2, I think. No. Let's check what they had. Lumen 1, hit lighting, max reflections, bounce 3, but I don't think I want to go that high. Not seeming to do much of anything. Ah, there we go. Didn't have that box checked. Am I frozen? No. Okay. Actually, that's pretty good. Let me try 3. My FPS is not doing too horribly. That looks cool. Oh, wow, yeah. Look at that. I want to disable these other lights, though. I don't think they need to be on. Maybe I can just delete them. The overhead lights, where are they? Point lights. I'm just going to disable them for now. And I might as well not get rid of them. Oh, wow, look at that. That is cool. Hide this stuff, too. Nice. Hide this cube. Look at that. That is cool. I actually want to see about changing the settings on this too, because now that I have those lights off, maybe it can go up a little bit. I really want to increase the saturation on this, but I don't know how to do that. It's probably in here somewhere. Anyway, that's something maybe I'll figure out for next time. I think we're basically done. Let me see what else we got.
HDRI and a glass material.
Hold up! Did you know that you can use photogrammetry to create highly photorealistic scenes by taking 1% off their promo?
Profile is in the link in the description.
Let's continue.
So Faraz, I have a question.
Yes.
What if my scene is laggy and I have a really, really low FPS?
So if that is the problem you're facing right now, I really recommend you check out this setting right here. This one says scalability, and currently if you click it, it's on cinematic. Basically, think of this as all of the different settings on extremely epic and ultra. So if you were to play video games, you know how you go on max settings to make that game look really good? This is what we're doing right now. So if your computer is suffering, we definitely recommend turn this guy down, especially as we go towards the end of this course. We're going to be adding in more assets, and your computer might not be able to handle it. If you still want to follow through, take this and put it to something like high or medium. And your materials will look different. Of course, your shadows will look slightly different. That is okay, because you actually have the option to go ahead and at render time, at the very end of the course, when your computer doesn't need to look at the scene and render it at 60 FPS, it has time to render in peace. You can then go and bump this up back to cinematic and render without having your computer crashing. So again, if in any case you need to change this, click and change. Now, in 1 or 2 scenarios I've faced where we didn't have this option, in case if you can't see it, it's going to be right here at the top right, settings, engine scalability settings.
Oh, engine scalability settings, okay. Okay. Well then, wait, how did they enable it though? Auto? No, I guess this is where you adjust it. Oh, there, now it's appearing there. Okay. So I guess once you've adjusted it once, it shows up here. Okay. What's my FPS? It's not showing me that. Let's see. There we go. Oh my God. I don't want epic or cinematic. What is epic? Or let's go to high. That's probably more likely to be. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it looks pretty blurry though. Maybe I can go to at least epic. Let's see what I get with FPS on that. I don't know why I keep needing to disable the FPS, and that's pretty good actually. I mean, stuff's a little bit washed out or blurry looking, but it's not too bad. It's doable. And actually, do I have game mode? I have game mode enabled. Okay. I'm just curious if I go back to Epic, what my FPS is. Or, oh no, I was in cinematic, and let's just try auto. Okay, let's go into Epic for auto. So that's probably the best I'm going to do. What's my FPS though? Yeah, it's at like 50, so that's pretty good. Okay.
So it'll work the same way. You're welcome.
We told you this chapter is going to be easy. Next chapter, we are going to teach you guys how to import assets into our scene.
Yes, these assets are going to come from online resources or other 3D software.
So that's the next episode. I'm going to keep it short tonight. Let's see, we're at an hour anyway, so it's not that short. But definitely check out skybox.blockadelabs.com, or I think it's just called Skybox AI if you Google it. And you get a certain number of credits for free. And it's, I think when you're creating actual skyboxes instead of because I tried to create a city and that didn't work very good. In fact, let me just quickly open that. I want to show you what I'm talking about, because it would be interesting to see if now that I understand that, if maybe I can make this look better. I'm not sure if I have that scene still available to edit, but we'll find out in a second here. But anyway, I made a city that that where you're kind of on the city streets, and looks like I may have. I think it's this one. Let's find out. So here's the bonus material for the evening. This was a test Simone that I created. This is not the final version of her, but it's a character creator from Realism version of her. I showed the more updated version of her. This is something that I was just experimenting with importing her into Unreal Engine and see if I can do it. And I think I did finally animate her, and so that worked. And I just brought this object in here just for fun, just to see. And then I wanted to try out HDRI. And it's actually, this is the one that I ended up with, which looks pretty cool. But actually I was curious if I changed this to, let's see, was it under here? And then I did Skybox. I was curious and I had originally had a city, and I think that would look horrible no matter what. It didn't really change anything. Okay. Maybe it did. Yeah, actually, because now you can see stuff below her, whereas before it stretched this all out. So that's way better. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's obviously not going to work if you can't put her down amongst these buildings. Everything would be stretched out. So, but if you're just using it for your sky and for backdrops and stuff, it's great for that. And that's going to be it for this evening. Thank you so much for coming, and make sure to like and subscribe, and come back for more tomorrow night. I think I'm going to do another one tomorrow night because I just want to keep rolling. I feel like this is going to take a really long time if I don't just keep going until I get to the really fun part, and then I won't want to stop anyway, which I really don't. Let's see. Let me see what episode we're on now. I think we're on. That was 11. This is 12. So this is where you start bringing in TIE fighters, and I think maybe in the next episode is stormtroopers, and then if it's not 12, it's 13, and then you start animating. I think in 13 or 14. So we're getting to the really fun part now. So I can't wait for that, and it's just going to keep getting better and better, and then it's just going to be icing on the cake after 14 or 15, just more beautiful stuff. And I'm not sure to what extent they animate, but it'd be fun to see. All right. Well, thanks again. Have a good night.